Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. It's been a while, I think, since the last video, uh, and I just thought I'd share a thought that was sparked off by a session with one of my teachers, and we were talking about how when we make a mistake in something, we generally tend to associate that mistake with something bad. And with that bad is connected sometimes or very often a sense of shame, guilt, and just negative stuff. We're conditioned, I think, from a very early age to associate making mistakes with something negative. But I suppose from years of observation now and through meeting and discussing things with other people, particularly those that are into education, it is quite clear, really, that mistakes are necessary. Mistakes are a main part of our journey towards somewhere better. And there was something that my teacher made me remember. I think remember is the wrong word, but sort of remember and remind are pretty similar. But I felt this. I felt it a little. I felt it in my heart when I heard it, and I just like to share that with you, and it may transfer to your heart, belly, I don't know, or not at all. So here's the main point I want to share with you. When we make a mistake, and we realize that we've made a mistake, our job at that moment of time is to celebrate. Is to celebrate not the mistake, is to celebrate the fact that we were aware of making the mistake. That is very important. When we make a mistake and then realize we've made a mistake, we're in a really magical place, I think, because it allows us to understand that we're not those mistakes. And it also, more importantly, allows us to associate making a mistake with something positive. Because at the end of the day, we won't learn without making mistakes. Ask anyone who's opened a business, a small business. You can do your feasibility studies all you want, and I will speak from my own experience as a business owner. By all means, it's necessary to have that feasibility study, but the minute you open and the rubber hits the road, very often, this is just my experience, you'll quickly realize that a lot of that won't go according to plan, and seldomly does, and that's okay. Being okay with that is very, very important. And you quickly realize as an entrepreneur or a person that works for themselves is very often the only way to learn how to do something that's never been done, or learn how to do something that you've never done before, regardless of what it is by making mistakes. And it's how we react to that. Some people almost sadistically punish themselves. And here's the major, I think, thought I want to be very clear on. And I think I'm saying this to myself before I say it to any of you guys, because that's just how I roll, how I function. Is to really be kind. Be kind to yourself when you make a mistake. Don't punish yourself. Don't shame yourself. Don't hurt yourself for making that mistake. It was a mistake. It was done. You forgot. You unintentional. Even if you've done this mistake many times before, it's okay. It's not okay to repeat it again and again and again and be in denial that it's something that needs to be rectified. But it is, I think, essential. It's absolutely essential to celebrate the fact that when we make a mistake and we realize we've made a mistake, we need to associate that magic moment with something positive. Say, oh, wow, thank God, I've realized I made a mistake. Because unless we do that, we will always associate golden opportunities to learn with something negative. And we won't be learning because subconsciously you are not geared, as human beings, we're not really geared to learn from things that are just bad and shameful. And this is not a mind trick to me at all. I think it's very different from a mind. It's just an awareness. Without going too deeply into the topic, because the topic is deep, but just to be aware that you've made the mistake, and that is a good thing that you've made a mistake. Just that is really important, because a lot of us, I think, or a lot of people that I meet are in a lot of pain because they don't want to make mistakes. They want to live a life where everything is perfect, and it is a denial. It's a denial of how we were born, how we learned how to walk. We fell, and we didn't take that person. We just got up and continued on. I think people that try not to make mistakes, regardless of whether it's in school, a business, academia, tend to sometimes go into what I like to call a Puritan mentality, where everything has to be kept pure. We don't make mistakes. And the problem with a Puritan way of thinking is it's very unnatural. And when you insist on denying the positive effects of being aware you've made a mistake, it's a form of denying the very truth. It's like you're saying to yourself, no, I didn't make a mistake, and I'll come up with all sorts of excuses to cover up that I made a mistake, because I don't make mistakes. People in my position, people with my background, we don't make mistakes. And that is a form of a very direct denial of reality. And I think the more, the more I feel things around me, the more I understand that those of us, or the times that we deny what's right in front of us, what we feel in our gut, is when we suffer. And I don't think there's a need for that. It's basically finding yourself in a position where you can either reward yourself for realizing you've made a mistake and get excited about rectifying it, and get excited about investigating and inquiring, well, where else have I made a mistake? Where else can I realize I've made a mistake? That's a journey worth taking, if we're able to step down from any way of thinking that says, I don't make a mistake, mistakes are bad. And I think in doing so, we get to a better place, a place that I think is always there, just waiting for us to let go. Let go of this perfect notion that mistakes are bad and only bad people make mistakes. I think the quicker we realize that, the quicker we'll be able to benefit from those mistakes. And I think the underlying really message I want to share to you is just to be kind to yourself. We tend to be kind to many other people that are close to us, but sometimes that comes at the expense of being harsh with ourselves. And it doesn't mean you're not tough with yourself and push yourself. That will serve you to a degree. But until we can reach a place where we can treat ourselves kindly, I think we have work to do. Because if we can't treat ourselves kindly, we will not really accept it from other people. So that's it for me. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the fact that you've realized you've made a mistake, and I've made tons. So I got a lot of celebrating to do. So I wish you a happy celebration and the realization that you are able to learn and grow and live. All the best.